Oh my. Oh god. Oh yeah. Holy crap, what a game. You're seeing the Sharky W flag for a reason, and the Sharks win 6-3. They win the series 4-1. They are on to the second round, and they will be a well-rested group ready for round two. Welcome to Pucknology After Dark. What a crazy night for you to join us. By all means, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you use the hashtag Pucknology After Dark. And with that, oh, there we go. Thank you, Landy. Follow us on Twitter, Google Chat. You can join us in there, along with subscribe at youtube.com/Pucknology After Dark 1. That being said, please rise and remove your caps.
Well, that was me. See, I'm supposed to say that.
Okay, it's all yours.
All right. So, before we start any festivity, sporting event, what have you, you normally start with the national anthem. So, with the national anthem today is your pal and mine, Ian Reed. And first, I got to put my little bottom third up. You can see the weasel with the American flag behind it. Got to make sure I have the words in front of me because I don't sing this very often, obviously. And here we go. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Play ball.
If any of you didn't notice, I was doing that typical glide with the skates and
Yes, there you go.
from side to side on the bench, keeping warm even though it's not cold. Yeah.
I apologize.
But
I apologize if I butchered that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not a singer. I probably don't have a future singing in the
I have.
any
And
Shark
that's the
games
last thing.
upcoming.
Yes. So you three have fun. Have a great night. We will definitely see you during the week. Don't know when we'll start. We got to wait for Anaheim, Nashville to finish up. But back to you, Landy. You guys
Hell
have
of a
fun.
playoff beard, by the way, bud.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Eric going Klingon style. All right. Well, live long and prosper to you, Puck Guy. Or Kapla, as they like to say, Klingons. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I was on the edge there. I was about to jump off. I think I had the bowling ball and the rope around my ankle, and was, staring over the San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, just like, hey, you know what? That looks like nice water down there. Let's go for a swim, guys. And then that happened, the third period, where the Sharks score 3 unanswered goals. Kicked off by Jonas Donskoy, Finnish playoff hero, now Sharks playoff hero, followed up by Pavelski with a sweet 5-hole goal. Quick, you better close your 5-hole because nobody wants that. And then a goal by Melker Carlson, his first of the playoffs, first of his career playoff goal. So, I mean, guys, I don't know about you, but I basically said, second intermission, I said, look, if they lose this, nothing has changed. If they win, they've shown me something. And they showed me something tonight. They showed me that this is not the same team from 2 years ago. I didn't believe it. I thought that this team was going to fold like a house of cards, but they come back with a superior effort in period 3. I mean, it was remarkable. I mean, they got up 3-0. You could visibly see the change in their game, and then they regained whatever mojo that they had at the beginning of the second period and just steamrolled LA.
Yeah, that was just a hell of a performance in that third period. You know, the key guys showed up. I mean, Joe Pavelski getting that essentially dagger goal, and Donskoy, you know, he was kind of quiet. He played a role throughout the entire series, but for him to get that goal, he out-muscled Doughty along the boards, forced the puck to the middle, and then got right in front of the net, and Burns played that perfect pass to him. I mean, we showed up right away in the third, and it killed the momentum in that arena.
No, it did. I mean, it got pretty damn quiet after the third goal, and it was 3-0. And then you could hear them roll all the way back. You could just keep hearing the crowd get back into it and back into it and back into it. And then when Donskoy scored, it kind of shut him up for a little bit, but then they kind of got it back again. And then the dagger was that Pavelski goal. I mean, Quick does not normally give up a really bad goal like that. And I think we got to start with the goalies this series. I mean, the prodigy, the protege, whatever you want to say, usurps the teacher. You know, he usurps the standing goalie there in L.A., and Martin Jones does it. He did what Antti Niemi could not do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the big difference in that last series that we played was Antti Niemi just couldn't make a save to save his life. And you kind of saw that in Dallas tonight. But yeah, I mean, Martin Jones, okay, his numbers tonight, only an 8.64, but he made the saves that need to be saved. And really, of those 3 goals, I don't really blame any of them on Jones at all, to be completely honest. I mean, you had that fluky deflection that there's no way anyone's stopping. I don't care who you are. You could be, a combined mutant made from the DNA of Patrick Watt, Dominic Hasek, and Jacques Plante, and you're still not stopping that. And, the other goal, again, just a big screen, couldn't really see much. I don't remember all 3, but yeah, I don't really fault Jones on anything tonight. And Quick, just not very quick-like. For playoffs, because usually Quick, I always kind of bash him in the playoffs, and I say he's overrated, and when I say he's overrated, I don't put him in that top tier of goalies. When you're talking like the best of the best of the best, I don't put him there. I put him in that nice second category with, maybe guys that I should put up higher. But overall, I mean, Quick wasn't very quick-like tonight. I mean, an elimination game and give up 6 goals, yeah, it's not very, or 5 goals, I guess, but not very quick-like.
No, I mean, it's stark contrast to what we've normally seen. I mean, he's normally front and center in stonewalling the Sharks, but not tonight. And the Sharks take it away on LA ice. Unfortunately, we didn't see a jumbo slide. I wish we could have saw that, but or a jumbo flipping off LA and then blowing kisses. But hey, you know what? A win's a win. Sharks dispatch the Kings in 5 games, and thank God, because that was a hell of a series. It might have only lasted 5 games, but there were more hits in that series than I think we've seen, combined in the playoffs. I mean, these 2 teams don't like each other.
Yeah.
And it's been documented so many times. I mean, this is big boy hockey in California. It doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah, and I mean, the only time the Sharks were down in this series was Game 1 until we tied the game 4 minutes into the game. So, I mean, it was a close series by 1-goal games, and yeah, a 6-3 score. I mean, it wasn't a 6-3 game. I mean, it was much closer. But the Sharks dominated the special teams in the series, and tonight they dominated the 5-on-5. The Sharks had a 5-on-3 and a penalty shot, and they didn't score on either, and they still score 5 goals without an empty net. I mean, that's huge.
No, it's insane. It really is. I think we got to kind of go over one thing. Of course, we're pleased to be joined by Randall Hahn, and of course you all know him as Randy's son. And we do need to kind of go over one thing. There was a lot of flack Randy was taking on Twitter because he had to call the game impartially. And you got to remember that he is broadcasting to an entire nation worth of TV sets, and he can't be biased to the Sharks. If anything, I'm surprised he wasn't harder on the Sharks to do like a reverse psychology to make people think he's not the home broadcaster of the Sharks.
Can I take this?
Yeah, go for it, Ian.
Okay, look, yeah, I mean, the thing is he's doing a national broadcast, right? And there are other people that do national broadcasts that don't do them as national broadcasts. Instead of bitching, you should be lucky that we have such a good fucking commentary team that you can watch a game and actually, learn something about the other team. And I understand that, this fan base is a little thin-skinned, and if you say anything nice about the Kings, then you obviously hate the Sharks. But holy shit, guys, like, just let them call the fucking game. You have, like, one of the best, you have no idea, like, if you, and maybe some of you do if you watch other teams, but you have no idea how good you have it in San Jose for commentary teams. You guys bitch about, Baker over Drew. We still, without Drew, still have one of the best commentary teams in the entire league.
I mean,
just
when you,
moronic.
yeah. I mean, when you have the guy who scored, arguably the goal that put the Sharks on the map, as your color guy, working with probably, I would say, top 5 easy in the entire league and nationally as your play-by-play guy. I mean, we should be happy that he's getting the exposure. Randy has, I'm sure, turned down a lot of opportunities to go to different places, a lot of opportunities to probably go national, and we've got to really respect and really enjoy what we have. So I mean, none of our I'm pretty sure that none of our followers here in YouTube even remotely think this, but this is kind of just going on the general fan base. I saw it in my timeline, Ian was seeing it in his timeline. There were just a lot of people railing on Randy, and you know what? I mean, it's his job, and you know what? We're lucky to have him. So that's my take on it.
That's good.
I'll say one thing just about that.
Sure.
My dad was part of the original crew that started Pro Hockey San Jose. He's been a part of this organization for the 25 years, and even if fans don't want to think that he's calling it, even like if he's not being biased towards the Sharks, my dad is as big of a fan as it comes. Like, he lives and dies by this team, and it hurts when they're not doing well, and it's fun when they're playing great. And he's just as invested as any other fan, and he cares about this team more than life. Like, so this is his life, and he loves it.
Yeah, it's just stupid. Just let him be a professional, and let him actually be a professional instead of other announcers. Chicago.
Yeah, and it's tough to not see him be able to do second round games anymore, but he'll still be in the building for the games, doing other sort of things, and at the pregame rally, stuff like that. So he'll still be involved.
Oh, and then we've got some LA Kings turd who says, "So what?" to my 5-game Sharks prediction. Look, I'm just going to go over this really quickly. I don't like rubbing it into people's faces. I really don't, and I'm going to take the high road on this. I did not like Mr. It was really good to have Mayor's Manor on the podcast, and I really appreciate him coming out. I really would have liked to have seen him maybe look at his LA Kings defense a little bit harder and look at that a little bit under a microscope and say, hey, look, after Doughty and Alec Martinez, there's not much left. He didn't want to see that. I said Sharks in 5 because of that. I said if the Sharks can use their speed and exploit that defense, that's what's going to win the day. That's why I picked the Sharks in 5. So I said, hey, I picked them in 5. That was the only tweet I said. That's where I'm going to end it. But look, I cannot. I just it kind of floors me that people are like, well, what did they do or whatever, It's look. I just looked at this matchup on paper and said, the Sharks can exploit this weakness. If they exploit this weakness, they will get this over with quickly. If they don't, it's going to be a long series. And you know what? They played the one card that they had over the Kings.
And just to clear it up, it wasn't Hoven that was busting your chops. It was someone who responded to Hoven.
Yeah, it was Scott Van Tool at Ned Ryerson 1957. So if you guys want to go hate on him, go for it. But
no, it's let's. You know what? Look.
Let's keep this a positive.
Yeah, look, we just won the fucking series. Like, are we really gonna sit here and bitch about Kings fans? No, we're done with Kings fans until next year.
They're golfing.
Bye, Kings fans. Like,
yeah, go book your tea time at Pebble Beach, guys.
Exactly. Like, enough.
It's
enough. Let's talk about this fucking game. Let's talk about Jonas Donskoy.
So we on that. Chester Chivo says, "Is this the best free agent signing DW has ever made as a Sharks GM?" Oh boy, I mean that's opening up a very big can of worms. However, I will say this: he is probably the best European free agent signing that the Sharks have ever had.
I mean, not that that's super difficult, but yeah.
The one thing he's done differently with this team is in years past, he felt loading the lineup with guys that have won a cup before would somehow make this team more hungry to win a cup because they have more experience in the locker room. We have one guy who's won a cup, and he was a backup on that team, and that was Martin Jones. We have guys on this team that are hungry, and they're not just in San Jose, so they can retire in San Jose. And that's what the guys love. They all retire in San Jose because it's a beautiful area. But there's guys on this team that want to win the cup. Joel Ward has been a proven playoff perennial guy, and he proved tonight why we acquired him. Paul Martin proved this entire series why we acquired him. You know, the fact that his name wasn't mentioned that much was key because he just broke the play up right away. He wasn't back. He wasn't on the ice when goals were scored. Two huge key acquisitions and Martin Jones that helped this team win the series.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, look, we can now, I think, safely write the book on the Martin Jones trade. Sean Corrale and a first-round pick for Martin Jones. It's not going to be a lottery pick, and God willing, it's pick number 30. So, you know what? At this point, for this kind of a caliber goaltender, this was a small price to pay. And I like I said before, there was a real reason why Dean Lombardi shipped him to the East, because he knew what the kid was going to be. He knew that he had some skill, and he said, okay, he cannot be in the Western Conference. He cannot burn us. But what does Doug Wilson do? He keeps the target set on him, and it was actually, I heard this on, I believe it was Hockey Central at noon. Basically, I think the gambit was if he wasn't able to trade for him, he was going to offer sheet LA. He was going to offer sheet him, and we've seen that trick before from Doug Wilson. Offer sheet Martin Jones, and if he got him, then that was the guy he wanted. If he got traded out of LA, which he also probably had a bet on because they had some cap issues, he was going to try and deal with whoever got them, and whoever got him. And lo and behold, Boston, who has always been a good dance partner with the Sharks, played trade ball with the Sharks, and you know what? Small price to pay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, you know, we need to make it further than we've ever made it before. And I mean, even the last two times we made it to a Western Conference final, we weren't really ever in that series. So this team will really prove what they're worth when we get to that point. Obviously, it'll be hard to see who we're facing next. I mean, thank God that series is going at least 6. I mean, momentum is only so much in hockey because you can't predict it. Injuries are something that's real, and that's something that you can control on some level, and guys getting rest. You have time to heal. Like, momentum is huge in baseball because if a team's rolling, the team's hitting, the team's pitching well, that's key for them. But in hockey, rest is more important than the momentum factor. And so that's going to be huge for the Sharks going in this next series.
No, it really will be. You know, I think that's why I kind of felt that Pred Anaheim series is going to go 7. And if it goes 7 and they keep beating the heck out of each other, that's just better for us. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how the Sharks deal with this rest. You know, we saw Joe Pavelski leave for a shift. You saw a GIF fly up. It was basically Anze Kopitar hacking him on his wrist. So you got to wonder, well, was it actually a skate like the broadcasts were saying it might have been, or was it something with his hand? And you know what? I'm probably more of the opinion that it was his hand and that he played through something really painful.
Yeah, the other thing too is, I mean, you're looking at this series, and the reason it's another great thing why this series is over, other than just beating the Kings, which is, you know, awesome in itself, is that these hits, these were like 100 hit games, like not 100 hits combined, obviously, but the Sharks were generally being out hit most of the series, and they were 100 hit games. So to get that rest going into the next round, while we wait to see what happens with the the Ducks and the Predators, I mean, that's great. And the other thing with watching what else is going on that's really exciting is that, okay, the Kings are already gone, which is awesome. Go us. And, the Predators Anaheim series is tied, but, that series could end interestingly, and I kind of like that. And then you're looking at the Central, and Chicago is hanging on for dear life. So,
this just coming in from Greg Beachman at Greg Beecham on Twitter. Logan Couture says the Kings had been disrespectful to the Sharks earlier in this series. Logan now counters with, after the game, I wonder if they've got us where they want us right now.
Logan would be the guy to say that.
I love Logan.
He doesn't care.
I'm so hot and cold on Logan, but right now I love him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but so, I mean, going back to my point there before I sneeze my face off on air, go me. You have this opportunity. I don't feel like if you see the Blues bump Chicago, has the field been more wide open in the past 6 years?
If Chicago, if St. Louis wins the Central, because I have the Blues in 7, and I have Dallas, and I think the Blues can beat Dallas, and I think it's if the Sharks can get past the Predators, who is what I picked in the Western Conference, I think the Sharks Blues series could be a real possibility Western Conference Finals wise. The Sharks have had the Blues number this year and have played a very good game against the Blues because the Blues are similar in LA, very very similar to LA. They're the kind of the Central Division LA, and the Sharks have shown that they can use their speed to exploit weaknesses on slower, heavier teams.
I'm still not sold that Anaheim's done. I think
no, and neither am I. But I kind of want Anaheim to go through. I want this to be the California revenge tour.
Well,
to be completely honest,
I think Anaheim would be just as tough of a series, if not harder, than this last LA series. I mean, Anaheim played us really tough this season. We had a lot of success in LA this year. We went undefeated in LA. Like, wow, wow! This team went undefeated in LA. And Anaheim has proven to be able to beat us home and road. They have a goaltender who's lost 3 games in his last 21 starts. They're a tough team. I'd like to see them lose because I think we could beat Nashville, but that would be a really tough series. But I go back to that one season where the Sharks were a 5 seed and they beat the Nashville Predators, who were a 4 seed, and the 6, 7, and 8s also won. We made it to the semifinals. We faced the Edmonton Oilers up 2-0, overtime, hit a post, lose the game, lose the next 3. I mean, that was the most open field. Carolina Hurricanes, who faced the Edmonton Oilers in that finals, we beat 5-0 in that regular season. Yeah. That was the year we could have won it. We didn't even have Joe Thornton. That was the most open I remember. But playoffs is like teams get hot, teams start.
Oh, right.
Rolling.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying when you're looking at teams that, when you're looking at teams like, look, LA and Chicago have basically owned the Stanley Cup for the past, half a decade. So to have them both out, I mean, I just think that opens that. It's just nice to have those possibilities open. And I'm seeing a lot in the chat about St. Louis. And yeah, I'm not looking past anybody at this point. I'm not even looking past the second round. No, St. Louis is getting some ridiculous goaltending from Brian Elliott right now. And to think that they would be an absolute pushover is just silly. I mean, we've seen the Sharks get stymied by hot goaltenders in the playoffs before. And, the Ducks have done well since going back to Anderson. So that's a scary matchup too. And Pekka just seems to own us all the bloody time. I have no interest in Pekka Rinne.
That's exactly it. That my big fear is that the Sharks get Pekka Rinne in round 2. The Ducks, I feel, the Ducks are, to me, would be the series that would go 7 against the Sharks. I mean, I just feel like we have not played well against them. They stack up maybe a little bit better against the Sharks than they do, than the Sharks did against the Kings. That's why I wanted Kings round 1, because I thought the Sharks had a better matchup against them during the season series. But I was there in Anaheim. I've seen what the Ducks have done to the Sharks, and boy, when the Sharks play a trap-based system, they get frustrated easily. I mean, really easily. And so, when the Duckies like to clog it up because, God forbid they have a talented team and not use it, it just really messes with the Sharks' psyche for whatever reason. It's always happened. I don't know why, but the Sharks can't really break the trap all that easy.
Another thing too. Speaking about the Ducks that I like about for the Sharks though is the Ducks stars they're really dumb. They take really dumb penalties and they'll take really bad trade-offs. Like the Ducks, you can have a Tommy Wingles go and drag a Corey Perry or Ryan Getzlaf to the penalty box.
Yeah, that is true.
I think that can work to our advantage because I think it's the same thing like against the Kings, right? We didn't play their game, and I think if you hold your discipline and then let some of your bottom line guys, no offense to Tommy Wingles, but he's no Joe Pavelski, and if you can get that trade off to the penalty box, I take that every day and twice on Sunday.
Oh yeah, I mean heck, I'd even take Dylan taking off Getzlaf. We've seen that before. Yep. I think I honestly think that the Predators are the tougher out for the Sharks, but it's going to be tough either way. Either way, it's going to be a tough series, and I see that going a little bit longer. I mean, I think we really feasted out on an limping Kings team. To be quite honest, I did not think that the Kings. I didn't see what everybody else was smoking with the King. We can power through it with Doughty, skating 40 minutes a game. I didn't see it. But when the Sharks have to face some tougher competition that are healthy, that's where we'll really kind of see, okay, well, how do our stars match up against theirs? Mm-hmm. Going over to the Central, I guess, Dallas... I mean, to me, Dallas is kind of a run and gun, and I like the Sharks' defensive system against Dallas.
Oh, yeah. Dallas is already learning just against Minnesota, and Minnesota's missing, did they get Parise back yet? I don't remember. No. I mean, you're looking at a team missing Zach Parise, and they're already having troubles outscoring their problems in the playoffs against Minnesota, who basically limped into the playoffs. If the Sharks end up playing Dallas, I like the Sharks' odds. I don't really think Dallas is for real at all, to be completely honest, because, offense wins games, but defense wins championships, and Dallas doesn't have a Stanley Cup caliber defense.
And that those goaltenders are just not great. I mean, I like Kari Lehtinen when he's on his game, but...
Right.
He's not a playoff number one confident goalie. Dallas, if you're scoring 4 goals in a playoff game, you should win that playoff game. And they lost tonight 5-4 in overtime to a Minnesota team missing the majority of their top forwards. Like, I think Vanek's been out for most of the series too. Yeah, Vanek, Parise. I mean, when Mikko Koivu, who doesn't really score often, is getting the game-tying and game-winning goal on the road in an elimination game, I mean, what's the deep Niemi in net? I mean, I don't like their Sharks have a way better defensive matchup, have a way better goaltending matchup, but their offensive depth is insane. And if they put up 4 or 5 against the Sharks, it would be tough to match that. But it's a little too far in the distance. I mean, Minnesota's making a little series out of that.
Yep. No, and that's I guess kind of in a roundabout way, it kind of brings us back to our games. I mean, how lucky are we that this thing didn't go 7? I mean, the Sharks really lucked out from a health perspective. I mean, they pretty much escaped this series without a major Kings douchebaggery play. I mean, I was half worried that Dustin Brown was going to take out somebody's knee, or Milan Lucic was going to spear somebody's nards into oblivion. Like, I was so worried about that because that team, when they're down and when they're out, they love to muck it up. And they love to be sneaky dirty.
Yeah, well, that's something you would expect in a game that's not necessarily elimination. When you're down 5-3 and there's 30 seconds left in the game, your season's going over. Your season's going to be over. Most of these guys respect each other off the ice. Like Drew Doughty and Vlasic and Couture, they're all close guys. I mean, these guys don't hate each other off the ice. There's a couple exceptions, but most of these guys are going to take runs just to make guys harder on the way to the cup if their season's already over. That's something that you would do in a game leading to an elimination game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Tend to think that the Kings are a little more vindictive than that, but but I don't know. That's my opinion on that.
But I think the Kings learned early, though, that the Sharks weren't going to play their game. They weren't going to get baited into all this nonsense. And I think that as the series went on, the Kings obviously had to try and move away from trying to make the Sharks do stupid stuff by doing stupid stuff of their own. That's some awesome analysis by me, I know. And and just kind of get away from, the Kings had to kind of get away from that kind of game, though, because it was failing them. I mean, at the end of the day, they still want, everyone's here to try and move on. And the Kings are no different in that regard. So when that game wasn't working, I mean, they had to veer away from it. But, I mean, it's the playoffs. People are going to get banged up. And I'm sure there's probably some injuries we don't know about already going forwards. But, it's good that the series ended early because, like I said earlier, 100 hit games. And, you want none of that. You want none of that for 7 games. I know a lot of people, as a neutral observer, maybe I wanted that for 7 games, but as a Sharks fan, I'm happy this is over in 5, and I'm just excited for the next round because, if you get out of these early rounds early, I mean that increases your chances. You go 7 in the first round, and your odds aren't so great after that. Most teams that go 7 in the first round don't go on to win the cup, and I'm not saying 100% that the Sharks are clear as a bird now to go win the Stanley Cup, but man, if Chicago can, Chicago, St. Louis, whatever comes out of that, it's more wide open than it's ever been for the Sharks in a long time.
Definitely. Do we know if Lucic got an extension during the season?
Nope.
No, he did not. Okay, so I guess
they have to resign him. They have to.
You think that Lucic is coming back?
Yeah,
I don't think so. There's no cap.
They're going to let somebody else go, I think. He was key to he was one of their top players this series, and he really was.
Yeah, no, I'm not arguing that. I don't know where I mean, they need so much, like, if this series showed anything, they need help on the blue line.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was. I mean, look, the Martinez injury was a pretty big deal, but the Sharks were still handling them in Game 1. I mean, the fact that they kept coming back after the Kings would score a goal. I mean, you can't just have 2 good defensemen. You can't even have 3 good defensemen. You really, Chicago showed that 4 can do it, but those are like the most elite defensemen in the whole NHL.
That's why they only needed an average goalie to win their cups.
Right, exactly.
I don't think Crawford was a passenger last year, but that's a conversation for another day, I guess.
So right now, this is not a Kings podcast, but I do like to revel in how they're going to destroy that team. Projected end of season cap space is 0. They have 45 men signed on their roster, so they can open up 5. We've got as pending UFAs Milan Lucic, Chris Versteeg, Trevor Lewis.
Versteeg's gone.
Yeah. Luke Shen.
Shen's gone.
And let's see, Jamie McBain is a UFA.
But he's going to get a
Braden McNabb needs a new contract. Jonas Enroth is up. And they have $1.5 million laid up in a Mike Richards deal.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do they have?
What do you guys think about a Dustin Brown buyout?
It's too much money. It's $1 bajillion until forever. Like, it's just too much money. They'd be paying that buyout off until like 2040 something.
Yeah.
Hello, AJ.
Okay. Was it just me, or did you guys think that the Kings were targeting Hurdle during the series?
I think they were. I think I saw that Donskoy was being targeted more than Hurdle.
Mm-hmm.
That was my thought, but yeah, they did definitely go after the Sharks' younger players. That was pretty evident.
What's going on, AJ?
Can I ask a question?
Nope. Yes, of course you can.
Did I miss the singing?
You did miss
missed
the singing.
it.
It's right off the hop though, so you don't have to even pay attention to the whole show. If you just want to listen to me sing over and over again, you just have to play the start of the show over and over and over again.
But I wanted to hear like it start off with like a "Hello from the other side of the border."
It was good.
and then just start right into it. But okay.
Sorry, buddy.
All right. Oh, that's disappointing. I know I'm joining in late, but how about them Sharks?
How about how about them Sharks? Hey AJ, can you switch over to audio only? Your
No, it's
feed is
just
breaking up.
you know what it is. It's absolutely. Does that help at all a little bit?
Yeah, it helps better when you go to audio. I can hear you better. And now we have AJ calling in from 680. AJ, you're on with Pucknology. What do you have to say?
My wife tells me all that time.
I just heard something about his wife.
No. I am not driving. Dude, just way to frickin' battle back, man. This was insane. The fact and cough up 3. I was on Twitter before, but as the Sharks team, dude, I mean, we've seen it for the laugh. They get.
I think AJ has gone full puck guy on this on this call in.
Okay, we put up 3. Oh, and then you put up 3. That's okay. We're still gonna win because we own third period, and that's what it is. So I'm just loving that about this team is that. How many times did we see previous teams that they would come out and they would destroy in the first period, they would do okay in the second, and then they would just cough up stuff in the third. So to see that they just get better and better as the game progresses, that's just fantastic, man. I'm having so much fun watching this team.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's a great point. And I think that's a big part of that is like it's Peter DeBoer over Todd McClellan. I feel like whenever the Sharks would get a lead, like this Sharks team, whenever it gets a lead, it still pushes. I mean, last game they got a little shell-shocked and they got a little rattled for 5 minutes, but then they pushed on and they took care of business. This game again, they didn't, it wasn't like they took the foot off the gas completely. I mean, yeah, they got some bad luck on a couple of those goals, but going forward, I thought like in the third period when the game was on the line, the Sharks kept playing. They didn't just kind of go back into a shell and hope to hold on to a lead and not, wait. I'm saying a lot, so carry on.
Dude, absolutely. Pete DeBoer should be on the front cover of like whether it's Cracked or I think it's Mad Magazine. Just the whole me worry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. I mean, look, I will tell you this. I was worried. I mean, I was like I was telling when I started.
That's because you had a bet on the line, bro.
It had nothing to do with the bet. It had more to do with how much that this team has broken my heart.
Jose, can you see?
During that second intermission, I was just like, they just really couldn't do this to us, could they? They just really couldn't do this.
Hashtag that's so Sharks.
Right.
Nope. Dude, let's give it. I don't know who is running the San Jose Sharks Twitter account, that social media. I want to work for them because they had zero chill tonight. Zero chill.
They stepped it up this season. They hired a lot of young kids, and actually a couple of my buddies are on that site.
It's awesome.
Well, you know what? Kudos to them, and the fact that you got some younger friends on there. Those are the ones that we've all seen. Who was the radio DJ for the Kings like a year or two ago? Who completely stepped over the line when he took over their Twitter account for a period, and it was on ESPN and everything. I mean, we've seen that type of deal go south and go bad really fast. Give it up to the Sharks social media group, man. They have been on point, yet they have never even come close to stepping over the line. So kick ass to them, man. They fantastic job this season, man. They've done so good.
Yeah, Bay Area sports, both social media or front office, never steps over the line. A firing's a mutual agreement to separate. It's just like Bay Area just does not go against their team or do anything saying wrong or sports radio to separate game members. But yeah, I mean, their social media stepped up. It's all kids coming out of college, 23, 24, because they saw how the Kings did it and they worked it the right way a couple of years ago until they let the wrong guy on the wrong night. So they're learning to do it the right way.
No, they're doing great.
Yeah.
I don't care how effing old they are. They're doing it the right way. We've seen other teams hand it over to the wrong people, whether they're just getting out of college, whether I don't even care how old they are. The fact is, some people know the line, some people don't. And you ask anybody, you ask Ian, you ask Landy, you ask Eric. I am someone who knows exactly where the line is, and I stepped about 40 feet on top of it. So. No, kudos to them, because I don't know that I would have had that restraint.
You know what? There's something to be said about being classy and a little bit restrained. I think I look at the Kings Twitter feed, and yeah, they're a little snarky and they're funny sometimes, but I think they also cross the line at times. And and as a fan, I don't want to see that coming down from my my team. I don't want to see that. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think Kings Twitter is the best part about the Kings. It's like the only thing about the Kings that's redeeming is Kings Twitter.
Yeah,
with the exception of when they let some idiot, radio show host take it over. Other than that, they're fantastic. They're pretty good. They get their snark on, but show me a Twitter feed of a good, of a hockey team that doesn't get a good snark once in a while. Like, every once in a while, see somebody that jumps over the line a little too harsh, but give it up for San Jose. They know right where the line is, and they know how to write it just correctly, and they're really good at that. So, like I said, I just give it up to them. They've had a really good time with this, because let's be honest, San Jose, Sharks fans, the San Jose Sharks organization, whatever, you can, have a good time on Twitter and throw up gifs and that's a little bit of smack talk, but let's be honest. Anaheim has a cup. LA has 2 cups. Like, maybe if Twitter existed in 2005, it'd be a little more fun because nobody had a cup. But, you can try to talk smack to LA all you want, but all they got to do is throw up 2 fingers. And it's kind of end of conversation right now.
Yeah, I think what the Sharks are really striving to do right now is, they saw a drop-off in attendance, obviously. And so, they took to the fan vote for the song, like the goal song. They changed it during the year. They changed the Twitter page. They're just trying to find a way to really connect with fans and really try and get a younger fan base in there because, so many kids are growing up now and seeing the Warriors doing so well, and that's what they want to go see. And, the Sharks are really striving to get that young population back in their arena.
Yeah.
So do we
Absolutely.
do we see the Sharks' attendance picking back up again next home game? I mean, do we see that the barn fully full now?
Oh yeah.
Honestly, it depends on if the Warriors are playing the same night at home or even on the road.
I still think there's enough fans in San Jose, enough true hockey fans. I mean, I think second round, they're going. And to see this win over the Kings when we missed the playoffs last year and blew that horrible series lead, this feels good for fans. And they're going to show up.
Man. I agree. I think I kind of agree with both. I feel like this should definitely, if anything's going to do it, if anything's going to fill the barn back up other than a Stanley Cup final appearance, this is it. Beating the Kings in this fashion the way they did, kind of showing that, yeah, look, we're not that team anymore. And I think that's going to have a big, if that doesn't convince fans to come back, I don't know if you can.
Well, see, now you're giving the point of view of the guy who's sitting in a beautiful home just above Michigan. It's like let's hear from the guy who literally lives less than 3 miles away from the tank and is a massive Sharks fan. I'm totally excited about going to the next round. I'm definitely going to go to at least one game, but I've been to a lot of first-round playoff games for the Sharks. I've been to a few second rounds, and I'll be honest with you, this is the most excited I've been ever going into a second round. I feel like they really, the teams in front of them, they have a harder road to hoe. And I think the Sharks, I don't know that the window is going to get any more open than this. But that said, we're talking about trying to put butts in the seats. You've got the Warriors, reigning champions, what looks like they're going to go back-to-back and what looks like to be a walk. The Giants, hey, it's an even year. Even though they started off slow, well, they started off slow every other year that they won a championship. So everybody's excited about them. And the Raiders, all of a sudden, they're worth talking about. And unfortunately, the local sports stations here, for some reason, think that discussing the NFL draft, 6 months away from the NFL actually playing is more important than talking about playoff hockey. That's fine. But I think after those 10 straight seasons of the Sharks getting almost there but not getting over the hump, and then just having that abysmal season last year, really, I think it's going to take going 6-7 games in the Western Conference Finals, if not going all the way to the finals, to really draw some fans back. And it's unfortunate, but honestly, I think when you tease the fans for a decade, unfortunately, I think that's what it's going to take to get there.
I just wanted to touch base on just the sports stations. Sharks get no support, but there's two guys.
That's always been that way.
Yeah, true, but there's two guys in this market that do cover Sharks, and they do talk about them on the radio, and that's Joe Fortenbaugh on 95.7 in the morning, and that's Chris Townsend. Those two guys, talk about the Sharks, and they respect.
Hold on, wait. Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I literally ran. I'm not even bullshitting you. I ran in to Chad Doing on the concourse at Game 4, and I asked him. I go, "Holy shit, you're here? Does this mean you're going to talk about it tomorrow morning?" He goes, "Well, no, dude. The program director isn't into that." I mean, the guy who is on the show is telling me the Canadian program director they have says, "No, we don't talk about the Sharks." The fact, this is the thing that I think is so funny. So many people jumped on Jason Barrett's back because of how poorly that station covered the Sharks. And then when Jason Barrett left last July, and it's like, oh my God, not only are they bringing in a new PD, but it's a PD that's coming in from Canada. Surely the Sharks are going to get a little bit more, pub on the station. And it actually got worse. Brody Brazil used to do not like daily, but he would do game day check-ins, either from 10 to noon or noon to 3. He would at least come on and do a game day check-in to kind of preview the game that night. That poor Brody, that dude, he does this crap for free, and yet he hasn't been on since, I don't know, last year.
All right.
I don't think he's been on in 2016.
All right.
So
well,
the fact that they're not even covering that, give me a break, man. That station can go to hell for all I care. The fact that Brody Brazil has been on Vancouver radio when the Canucks are not even in the playoffs. He's been on there more than he's been on local radio here. That's disgusting. It's ridiculous. Thank God for Sirius NHL Network.
I was just proving that those guys do cover them on Twitter because they can't say whatever they want on the radio station, but those two guys do support the Sharks very much.
We've covered this to death.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that honestly, look, I mean, outside of Ted Ramey and maybe Ray Woodson and Tom Tolbert. Yeah.
Ray Woodson, give me a break.
Hey, he covered them the other day. He had some analysis on them. He was talking about them. I was floored. I was floored, but he still did it. Oh, and so
it's Ramey and it's barely Tolbert, and that's it.
All right. So
moving on.
Let's go to the young guns of this game. We had 4 goals by 4 unusual suspects. We had Christian.
Can we talk about depth scoring finally? How awesome is that?
That's where I was going. It's pretty awesome to have 4 lines that can actually have a legitimate threat at scoring. I mean, you even saw Matt Nieto, of all people, chip in a goal tonight. And so, Chris Tierney had a hell of a game. Jonas Donskoy had a hell of a game. And you liked Nieto's game, and Melker gets an empty netter. This team right now, I mean, it was going to take all hands on deck to really get this team past LA, and they were there. So
Can you imagine if this is the point that the bottom 6 starts catching up with the top 6? Oh my God, dude!
Well, I mean, it was literally the bottom 6 that propelled them to a series win.
That was it.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah. And Joe Pavelski, of course, going 5-hole on Jonathan Quick and exposing him, for having a horrible 5-hole.
Let's call it what it is. That was the sweetest goal of the evening.
I don't know. I really like that Matty Nieto goal too, because
that was good. But
that's a good one.
Pavs dropping it into the hole.
Yeah.
Basically said, we aren't afraid of you. We're going to expose you, and let's talk about the elephant in the room. Jonathan Quick, 1-6 on the 2016 season. 1-6. Like, if anything, I hope that Pavelski, I hope every Shark that played tonight had an undershirt that said, "Where's Enroth, mother effers?"
Yeah, where is Enroth? I'm actually a little surprised we didn't see him in this game. I mean, Quick is the guy, but I thought after that 3rd goal they might have pulled him.
Yeah, me too. After the 3rd one, I thought it was like I was actually a little bit shocked, where it's just kind of like, well, Sutter, you've kind of like exhausted every other avenue. Why not go with Enroth tonight? At this point, when you've pulled all the other levers, this is the golden parachute. Pull it.
Yeah, I don't know. You're pulling a guy who won you 2 cups in an elimination game just because it's 3-0. No.
Oh, I mean, but
he's the only king. He's the only king to have beaten the Sharks this year in goal. That's all I'm saying.
The only game that they cared about.
Still, it doesn't matter. There's such a this isn't Jones and Reimer. There's such a significant drop off between Quick and Enroth that if Daryl Sutter starts Jonas Enroth in an elimination game, he's finding a new job in the offseason.
No. Hold on, Ian. Nobody said start. We were talking about after San Jose scored the 3rd goal. Maybe swapping it out.
Then.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on. Let me throw out the Ian comment. Fucking Ian's an idiot.
hey, I could say that, right? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm allowed to say that. If you guys didn't catch it, Ian, I'm sure Ian is loving every little bit of him having to eat his words, because that means that the Sharks won.
That's right.
So...
Oh, dude, how many brackets were broken tonight by these so-called expert prognosticators?
Hey, guess what? My bracket wasn't broken.
My bracket wasn't broken on teams that won. It was broken on games, but it wasn't broken on teams that advanced. But the fact is, if you go to, I think it's the NHL Facebook page, they had 52 photographs of so-called celebrities, and out of the 52, I think 49 of them had LA advancing. So. Yeah. And that was just out of them. That doesn't count the ESPN goofballs. It doesn't count the TSN guys. So, honestly, let's be honest. 98% of the quote-unquote experts, their brackets were broken tonight because of what happened in LA with San Jose.
But how funny is it that Greg Wyshynski, who got a pie in the face because he picked the Sharks over the Kings, decided to take the Kings this year, and he's like, why didn't I take the Sharks?
Right?
Cody James, I love it. Whammy, no whammies, no whammies. I love it. I love it.
No, it's fantastic. It's like, honestly, huge Sharks fan. I want to see them go all the way, win the cup. But I'm telling you, we discussed this just before the playoffs started, that the Sharks were, out of 16 teams going in, I think they were ranked like 14th as, odds to win the cup. 14th. And what's funny is after 2 games, and everybody had played 2 games, all of a sudden they jumped up to like being 4th. And then after tonight, I think they've jumped up to either 2nd or 1st.
Yeah.
So I just get a kick out of that whole thing. But now, I mean, let's be honest, dude. You honestly, it's like you want to call all the guys on TSN and ESPN and go, wait a minute, you picked Kings in 6. You picked Kings in 7. Yeah, there's a couple people that picked Kings in 4. And you just want to go, dude, just like stop. Just for the rest of the season, no, you don't get an opinion because you suck at it.
You know, this year was different because this was the first time in a long time the Sharks have been an underdog and not had high expectations going into the playoffs from the quote-unquote experts. Like
Exactly, and
Yeah.
I think that's helped them.
Yes, it has.
No, I think it has too. I mean, look, predictions before the season. I'm not just saying that 'cause my bracket's completely fucking broken now, but
Dude, you had to sing.
Yeah, I don't pretend I'm an expert, but I mean, if you look at, predictions are just that. They're predictions, or, it's they are what they are. I mean, they're, you can be an expert, but you can't, you can look at the numbers. I mean, if they got Martinez back, who knows if this is a different series? No one knows these things going in. No one knows Martinez is going to go out game 1 and be out for the rest of the season.
Dude, who knew that Gabrick wasn't going to be, a bigger factor? Who knew that Doughty was going to be held to like a minus in the series?
That's it.
Oh, I mean, but Gabrick, hold on. To be fair, Gabrick was coming off a pretty big injury. I didn't think they were going to get much out of him.
He absolutely was, but there was a few of those quote-unquote prognosticators that said that he could be an X factor if he comes back. He could be the guy that keeps them in and goes for the long haul.
Oh, I mean,
the bigger thing is the fact that so many people have just talked about how fantastic Doughty is, and it's just kind of like, you know what? He was essentially nothing in these playoffs, and I hope, and granted, unfortunately, the voting ended before these playoffs started, but if the playoffs started, are you going to really tell me that someone's going to vote for Doughty for the Norris over Burns? Going into the playoffs, sure. After the playoffs are over,
the voting's already done.
Yeah, voting doesn't.
But that was my point. Like I said,
the playoffs have nothing to do with the awards.
It goes to show the same thing that I said about the All-Star game, how that's a joke. Where if you look at the entire season, Joe Thornton is an easy All-Star. But after the first month and a half when they started voting, no, he wasn't because he started off slow. But
NHL awards aren't for the
God,
playoffs,
dude, he was fucking
regular
killing
season.
it.
I honestly, the prognosticators, they can all go whatever because, you know what, they did not want to see past Doughty and Alec Martinez. I kept saying it. I said, look, the first 30 minutes or the 30 minutes that Drew Doughty is on the ice, it's going to be a wash. He's the best defenseman on either team. I don't have any problem saying that.
Dude, you called it. You said, yeah, he's awesome for 30 minutes. Who's going to play for the other 30 minutes? Dude, you absolutely called that, and I will totally give you kudos for that. Dude, Landy, you drilled that home, and literally, that was huge, dude, and that was a fantastic call. For me, I just go back to the whole idea of, you know what, the Sharks, they're deeper this time. I got so tired of hearing that damn narrative of, well, it was 3-0 a year. Well, it was 3-1, at one point last year. This is not the same team. This is a deeper team. They, half the team. Now, I don't care if, the core guys were here a couple of years ago. You know what the thing is? 2 years ago, the core guys, they produced. And they produced again this time. The problem was 2 years ago, the bottom six, that crappy defense we had, those are the guys that weren't producing. And you know what? This season, they're producing.
Yeah, no, I think. Look, I mean that bottom six and the bottom pair defense pairing. I mean, they were very important to the series and really highlighted what the Sharks now have. I mean, they now have depth in places that they didn't have depth before. I mean, when you're able to replace, just think about this, when you're able to replace James Shepherd with Patrick Marleau.
Yeah.
I mean that's an upgrade and a half. And believe me, I love Desi. I loved Desi. I love what he brought. But Chris Tierney is a better fit for this team now than Desi was.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think DeBoer should be actively spoken about when it comes to the Atoms?
Oh boy, I mean, I think that you look at what the hell is his name? Gallant in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably the guy that wins it. You might make a case for Bruce Boudreau and how he brought that Ducks team back from the brink. Those are the guys that I look at. Hell, you could even make the argument for John Cooper because of all the injuries that Tampa Bay has sustained and how he's brought them and kept them up.
Who's the coach of the Panthers?
Gerard Gallant.
Yeah, that would be my pick.
Yeah, that's who I said first. It was
But just looking at how DeBoer handled the vets, giving them time off when you saw a year ago that McClellan was saying, "Oh, you're not producing enough. We need to do this harder and faster and blah blah blah," and was wearing them out.
100%.
100%, and the fact that DeBoer had the balls to cut ice time for players or to call out players or sit them. I mean, after that game in Winnipeg, the team just responded differently. And I love Todd McClellan. I loved his style. I love the Detroit style, and it worked very well for the Sharks for a long time. But they never had a button pusher quite like DeBoer since Daryl Sutter.
Well, you know what it is for me for DeBoer is that is a big difference between McClellan is McClellan felt like a panic button pusher, and maybe that had something to do with hearing something from Doug Wilson. But DeBoer was very, like I said before, man, he should be on the front cover of Mad Magazine. DeBoer is literally, what, me worry? No, I thought we looked good. And you saw, remember what happened when the Sharks just absolutely got embarrassed against Winnipeg at the beginning of January, and we're coming off that little stretch where they just looked awful, and then they started to dial it in, and then they had that game against Detroit just afterwards, and they got beat. But it wasn't a case of they got embarrassed. They didn't look bad. It was just a case of, you know what, that night, whether you want to call it puck luck, whatever you want to call it, Detroit just got an extra bounce their way, but San Jose looked really good that night. And that's the thing that DeBoer recognizes that I don't know that McClellan did. No. McClellan would look at that and say, oh, it's an L on the board, so that means I got to, put names into a hat and switch stuff up. Whereas DeBoer recognized, no, we were doing the right things. We just need to continue on this path. And that's what I'm really, really enjoying about DeBoer this season.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I think we're going to bid an adieu to Ian. He's got to be the good father that he is and go help out with the kiddos. So have a good night, Ian.
He has to sing her a lullaby? Maybe. A little singing?
All right, night, guys.
If we're on to, bud.
Hey, go sing her some Two Unlimited, Sharks Goal song.
So,
dude, I don't think we're gonna see Ian for like the next 3 shows, dude. He's upset.
So who do you guys have as your 3 stars for the series?
Ooh, that is a fantastic question.
That is a really good question.
I've been thinking about mine. So number 1, the Big Pavelski. Number 2, I'm going to go with Joel Ward. And number 3, I'm going to go with Brent Burns, and an honorable mention to Martin Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I heard that, I'll tell you the first names that popped into my head, it would probably be Pavelski third, Jones second, and Burns number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think Burns probably in my book wins number 1 slot. I'd say probably Burns, Jones, and the captain. I'd say Burns, Jones, and Pavelski. I think are my 3 guys.
Yeah, same as mine. Dude, you can't talk enough about Pavelski when you look at what he's done just in this series. I mean, he's just right up there points-wise. And Burns, you look at it, and now this is the thing that I will give to some of the, so-called expert analysis people, is that a lot of them picked Burns being the X factor for this series. And you know what? For a lot of it, he was. He was a fantastic X factor. But the thing that I really hope that we're done talking about is, well, Jones is unproven and Quick is, he's been the guy. But you know what? Jones proved it this series. He can get it done just as well as Quick. Thank God that can we all say, can we all give a virtual high five to Doug Wilson and say, you know what? You gave up a first for Jones, and you know what? Right now, it was worth it. Good job, Doug.
All right, so let's kind of go down the regular season stats. Or no, team regular season. I want series leaders. Here we go. Joe Pavelski, 5 goals. Brent Burns, 8 points. Brent Burns, 6 assists. Martin Jones with a .218 save percentage. On the LA Kings side, you got Anze Kopitar with 2 goals. Jake Muzzin with 5 points. He's your points leader. Jake Muzzin with 4 assists, and Jonathan Quick a 3.04 goals against average.
And what's the save percentage?
Let me pull it up. It's going to be pretty bad though. 886, 886 save percentage.
See, and that's the thing is, I remember going into this series, talking to a few people on Twitter, and there was 1 or 2 people that said, Quick in the regular season, because I pointed out going into this series that Quick this year had not beaten the Sharks, and they said, well, Quick in the playoffs, it's not the same guy as the regular season. And, well, maybe that was true 2 years ago. Maybe that was true 4 years ago. It wasn't true this season.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think right now, I mean, it wasn't really hard to outplay Quick because of how bad his numbers were. But I mean, Martin Jones.
The defense in front of him wasn't the same.
Right, exactly. I think. Martin Jones had a .912 save percentage, so I mean, it wasn't out of this world, but it was good enough. I mean, it was good enough, and I think if we're gonna move forward, I mean, he's gonna have to step it up a little bit more. I think he's, if the Sharks really want to go to a Stanley Cup final and have aspirations to go that far, they're going to need Martin Jones to pull in a .920 or a .922. It's just going to take that kind of goaltending to get there. And I think Jones.
Yeah, let me ask you this, and it's like, Landy, you've been following this team for that long. Oh my God, Hahn, you've been there since you were, a gleam in your daddy's eye. Has the window been any wider? Has it been open any wider than this? I mean, yeah,
Ever?
We can talk about the President's Trophy winning team. We can talk about a couple of those teams that went to the Western Conference Finals. This team feels as deeper as it's ever been, and that the teams that they're going to face don't seem as massive as they were. So it just feels to me, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, it feels like the window literally could not be open any wider.
It's tough because there were some really good teams. I felt like that team that played against Vancouver the second time they went to the Western Conference Finals was a good team. I didn't like Antiniemi, but I thought that they were a good team.
But that could have been the difference right there.
It could have been, but I think honestly that this is probably the deepest blue line we've seen in maybe ever in San Jose Sharks history. Because when you've got Paul Martin and Brent Burns, who could arguably be a 1-2 punch as a pairing, where they could be a first pairing set, and you have Vlasic and Braun as your second pairing, or you could say that they're your first defensive pairing, and the Martin Burns D pair is actually your first offensive pairing. I mean, that's pretty damn good. That's a good top four. But then you say, oh yeah, we have Polak and Dillon as our 5-6 defensemen. I mean, that's pretty good. That can go toe to toe with a lot of defensive cores.
Yeah, it's hard to say if this is like the largest window for this team. I think this team has proven that it's different from years past. I think this is the most intriguing team I've watched. Since we went up 3-0 in Detroit when Gooch got the overtimer, when Marlowe we went up 3-0 in round 2. I felt like that was going to be the year that we were going to make a long run at it. But yeah, I really like the depth. This, like we've been repeating nonstop, this is a third and fourth line that we haven't had before. And Marlowe, that was a horrible penalty shot today, but he brings so much speed and so much confidence and a veteran presence to that third line that most teams aren't privileged to have. And the fact that we can slot him in there and, not have his whole confidence, boosted because of it, I think that's really key to this team, and it's going to be interesting to see how those bottom lines play out. That fourth line needs to take a lot less penalties next series. That was pretty key in the first couple games, but yeah, this defense is definitely the strongest I've personally seen as a Sharks fan. I think Vlasic, I mean, he's healthy, which is great. Braun's coming into form, and then can't say enough about Burns, and then Martin's just the guy that's going to be there.
And I just one final thing before I jump out of here, because clearly Chris says I sound not very good. I just want to say, yeah, Randall, you hit on the thing that we were all talking about in the bar tonight. That penalty shot that Marlowe took tonight, holy crap, dude. and I will stay with that. And you know what? We will see you on to the next round, whether it's Nashville, Anaheim, doesn't even matter. I will check you guys out then. I'm sure we'll have a Pucknology before then, but have a good night, guys, man. Love you guys. Oh, this is fantastic, dude.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, AJ. We love you as always.
We need to get him a picture with Randy for his picture.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I need to have him update that Abby.
Gotta love Drew, though.
Hold on. You need me to put my avatar as a picture with me and Hahn? Give me 10 minutes. It'll be up there.
Sounds good, bud.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Rocket Backhander chiming in. Dillon, period. Sucks, period. Look, I mean, I have a lot of issues with Dillon and the way he plays sometimes, especially in that overtime. He took a really dumb run at Dustin Brown. Having him as a 6D man, though, is kind of a luxury. I mean, that's a luxury that most teams don't have. And the fact that he can play those minutes and, for the most part, be an effective player in that position it's important. It's important for this team to have long-term success and a long playoff positioning. And people are asking, well, did Dillon play this series? And yes, he did play this series. And even if we just kind of run down quickly recap the time on ice numbers, because you guys all know me. I love the guys and gals. You all know that I love to go about time on ice spread. And just tonight, for instance, Dillon had 14 minutes. Paul Martin had about 20 minutes. Mark-Edward Vlasic had 24 minutes. Roman Polak had 15 minutes. Justin Braun had 21 minutes. Brent Burns had 24 minutes. So, to have that kind of spread and not have a guy touch over 25 minutes is really important. And I think that we saw Drew Doughty tired. I said it before, man. You're going to trot that guy 35 minutes, go for it. But he's not going to last long. He's not going to last 7 games.
No, I mean, you could see it on that play. I mean, how many other times is Donskoy going to outstrength Drew Doughty? I mean, yeah, that was a great play by Donskoy, but that was not a typical play by Drew Doughty. He was worn out, and he was carrying his team on his back, even if it wasn't on the point, even if it wasn't with points. Drew Doughty is a guy that they depend on for power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5, and when their 5-on-5 tonight just showed that this team got worn out by this Sharks team that was bringing it all 4 lines. Yeah, the Kings have that 4th line that'll bang some bodies. Clifford, he's a beast on the boards and stuff like that, but we had speed. We had Tierney. We had Marlowe on that 3rd line. That's what really wore this team out. They didn't have the depth to keep up with our speed, and we haven't had guys like that before.
Oh, no, I definitely agree. I kept harping on it. The speed is what's going to be the factor, what's going to be the winning factor in this game, and they showed it tonight. I mean, how many times have we seen Doughty mishandle the puck? I mean, we saw in that 3rd period, he was mishandling a puck here, mishandling a puck there. Mm-hmm. He just did not look like the normal Doughty we all know. I mean, the one that terrorizes the Sharks. And it just goes to show you that, you know what, you can have a great 1 and 2 defenseman, but if you don't have anything behind it, it's going to be hard to win. It's going to be hard to win.
And even though this team didn't make the playoffs last year, they've had multiple years of long playoff runs. The core of this team has played a lot of hockey in the last couple of years, and it gets to a point where they're worn down. Chicago is starting to show a little evidence of that. Yeah, they're staying alive in that series, but these guys can't keep going all the way till mid-June every year and still expect to be as productive the next year, putting up last. It's just not reasonable.
No, I totally agree. It's really unfair. In my opinion, it was really unfair to ask Drew Doughty to log as many minutes as he did and to try and carry that patchwork blue line as best as he could. I mean, you got to give it off to him for that. Tip the cap for that, because it was a superhuman effort. It really was. And you know what? I mean, if the Kings really want to be serious about playing in this Pacific Division, they're going to have to spend some money on that blue line. They're going to have to do something to get it better.
Mm-hmm. Rob Scuderi isn't cutting it anymore.
Oh, no. I mean, I think Rob Scuderi wasn't cutting it a year ago.
No. He had that one good playoff year with Pittsburgh. But, so, with the Sharks' road success, do we want them to keep playing on the road for the majority of the playoffs? Do you want them to be the lower seed? Is that just what we want for this team, or is more home games better?
Oh boy, I mean, this is something that we've kind of all gone back and forth about. Personally, I kind of like starting out on the road, because if you can steal 1 or 2 games from the opposing team, then you've taken away home ice advantage and you've wrestled it to your side. And I like that. I like that kind of underdog aspect. I like the fact that you're not settled and comfortable starting out a series, because it makes you engaged in the game. It makes you play that good style of hockey, that road style of hockey. So I think it's beneficial to this team. However, I do worry if it's going to be a long distance series. If the Sharks have to keep trekking around, let's say they play against Nashville, if they have to trek around back and forth to Nashville, and have to, sorry, I said, again, drink Chester and drink Gen X. But if they have to trek around and log a lot of miles, that's not great. And I think that home ice better serves them in that particular instance.
Yeah, and I agree. But the one thing that I took different out of this initial 2-0 series lead than the last time we were up 2-0 on LA was that we won those first 2 games in LA. The last series, we win the first 3 games. Game 4 is at home. We lose that home game. Or game 4 was on the road, I'm sorry. And then, we lose game – sorry, I said too. We lose game 5. We lose game 6 on the road. And game 7 is back at home. I mean, I think just winning the first 2 games on the road was so key to this series win. It just almost took them out of it at that point. Like, yeah, they get the Game 3 win, but the fact that this team was able to rally around and get the one home win that was necessary, that I almost felt like the series was in the bag at that point. That's what made it so different from the last time we played these guys.
I totally agree. I think that them losing Game 3 was a good thing because it showed them, hey, look, this is not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
So they lose Game 3 and they come back and they play an awesome Game 4. I mean, they didn't play bad Game 3. They could have won that game had Dylan not taken himself out of the play in that overtime. And you know what? The Sharks would have gone on to sweep LA. However, it wasn't going to happen. LA had to have won one. And the fact that we were able to do it in such convincing fashion in that third period tonight, I mean, it goes to show that this team is different. I mean, the makeup is different. I guess I'm a believer. I'm sipping the Kool-Aid now.
Yeah, I've been sipping that for about 13 years, bud.
No, I mean, as far as
I know.
After that 2014 debacle, I mean, it was a kind of a running gag between me and my uncle, who's like 28, 29. So we kind of grew up together. But it was a running gag. Like, we couldn't talk about that. I mean, it was just like, oh, you know, sucks about the Sharks this year. And we just we'd look at each other and be like, yeah, we're not talking about this. You know, it was just that unspoken, just disgust. I mean, we felt that not only was it a colossal and monumental collapse for us as fans, but it really showed a really bad light for San Jose. I mean, San Jose sports, and trying to get San Jose itself and not San Francisco and not Oakland and not, you know, Sacramento, but San Jose as a sports town. And
don't forget Santa Clara now.
Yes, Santa Clara, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. This was a big night for this team. This, you know, took that season and, you know, it's going to be there in the record books, but that is going to be off the mind. That's going to be something that these fans are not going to have to think about for a long time. You know, we get a little bit of time to relax before the next series. We get to watch Anaheim and Nashville beat the crap out of each other, hopefully go 7. Get to watch Washington hopefully make the same mistake we did. You know, I'm going to be excited watching hockey for the next few days and just to be able to relax a little bit, to be honest, because I've been stressed. I mean, we won in 5, but it did not feel like we won in 5. This felt like a long series.
No, it did. And I mean, just the sheer factor of physicality in this series. Like I was telling Mayor, I said, you know what, this is obviously and honestly the best series that we've seen, and it only went 5 games. I mean, the whole hockey world was clamoring for a 7-game series. And you know, they got 5. They got 5 really good games. And, you know, to me, it equaled the hype of what it was set out to be. It just that Kings team, unfortunately, was just depleted. I mean, and it was a different kind of depletion. It was a different kind of depletion than when we saw 2011 when Anze Kopitar wasn't there, their best player. So it was just a different kind of win in my book. I felt it was a more complete win this time around than it was in 2011.
Yeah, it was. It just felt better.
And Simon Tube, are you guys even reading the messages? Yes, I'm reading the messages.
Should we go to, like, if anybody wants to ask any questions so we can kind of close out on that, or, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead and hop to the Twitter board and hop to anybody in the chat. If you guys want to ask some last minute questions, we're here to answer and kind of here to talk about it. I think Kevin Ashwell at VCFD43 chimed in on Twitter. How about we play the rest of the playoffs on the road? You know, I think that would be beneficial to the Sharks, but I don't know that it would be necessarily fun for the fans.
Yeah, I want to go to the tank a couple more times this year.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe let's see. I guess that we need 12 wins, so maybe 6 more times. You know, until we get to the Cup. That would be awesome.
Let's see what else we got here. How old are you guys? I'm 23.
Let's see. I'm turning 25, so
Young Guns. We got them.
yes,
We got them 2000s Sharks fans. The Alexander Koryuk days.
exactly. Hey, Jonas Donskoy, right? He's 25.
Oh yeah. And by the way, I was watching the Kings feed for the majority of the series because I've been in LA. The amount of times that they mentioned that Donskoy was a rookie was unreal. He's not a rookie.
Oh, and the fact that, because I had to listen to it too because I'm in San Diego, and of course, the LA Kings. If you can't watch it on the national, broadcast, you have to go to the local broadcast, which is the LA Kings broadcast. The way that they say Thornton, and every time they said Thornton, it was like, oh my God, somebody shove a hot poker through my
Nieto from Long Beach. Every time he touches the puck. Nieto, native from Long Beach. Yeah, we got it. Jim Fox just with the – and then they end the play on that. Just he has to have that cliche like soundbite to the end of everything he says. It's great.
Of course, Raka Bankhander chiming in. How many years has it been since SJ had such a deep roster? Oh boy. I mean, maybe I liked the, what was that? I guess that would have been the 2011 team, the team that played against Vancouver. I thought that was a really deep team. Wasn't a big fan of the 2010 team. I mean, I think the blue line was a little bit better in 2010, but I think the forwards were a little bit better in 2011. And before that, probably when we played Calgary. I mean, I know I'm picking all the Western Conference final teams, but I think that team was pretty darn deep. I think the team that got reverse swept was too top heavy. That was when they had Burns as a forward. I don't think it had enough D.
Yeah. I just love the playoff teams. I had Heater. I mean, unfortunately, he didn't really pan out too well in any playoff series, but I just thought our offense was so dominant. And then we tried getting Brian Campbell. Didn't work out.
We're joined by Aiden Carlson. He is a writer for Pucknology.net, and he does occasionally hop on. But I think this is your first playoff game appearance. How are you doing, Aiden?
It's good. Thanks. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Fabulous.
Yeah, I know. After that game, definitely.
Of course, Aiden joins us from Chicago, so nice of you to stay up a little late and come join us and join the fun. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
We've steadily kept the 41 viewer pace, and we are now in an hour and 25 minutes, but this is a celebration of playoff wins, so I think we can make an exception for going a little bit longer tonight. Aiden, just give me your quick reactions on the game off the hop. What do you think? How did you think the series went? What was kind of the keys for you?
Yeah, I thought that the series went pretty well. I think we could have swept them. Really, other than that OT game on that dumb play. I liked the game though, other than the second period. First period I thought we dominated. I thought that was great. Second we fell apart in second half there, and then third period I thought we came through. Really showed that we have what it takes to win.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Nailed it on the head there.
Who was your X factor in the whole series? Who do you think made the most difference in the series? And I mean, just your overall thoughts on the depth.
I think Joe Pavelski's got to be my guy. He came out for the Sharks. He scored the first 2 goals for them. He added that insurance goal tonight. I think that he was great for the team overall. He really set the pace for the series, and I love the depth that the team has right now. I actually tweeted earlier how they have 4 lines that they can roll. We saw all 4 lines score tonight. The entire third line is all for speed. They get in the offensive zone. They get to hold the puck there for a little while. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I agreed. The depth was really on point tonight. Randall, you had something to add, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm about to be heading out here, guys. But thanks again for having me on. I always love joining the show. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You're just a riot. Tonight was a great night for Sharks fans. There's a little bit of redemption. It's just the first step. That's 4 down. But yeah, my X factor, Joe Pavelski would be the obvious. But I've mentioned this a couple times. Joel Ward. I mean, Brett Burns would be another obvious pick, but Joel Ward was that guy that made the difference in the depth of this team, in my opinion, this series. But yeah, I'm gonna call it a night, fellas. I've been pretty emotional for the last couple hours, and I'm pretty drained at this point. So
Go get some much earned rest.
and, just to remind everybody out there, I still have that that proposition. If the Sharks do have a parade in downtown San Jose, I will not only get a Sharks tattoo, but a fan voted tattoo. That's still on the line. So,
I've got a wristband right here. It's a dragon wristband. I'm thinking about adding a shark on the other one. So.
Yeah, I got that wristband too, and we might have a special guest for round 2. I made that promise as well. I think some fans already know who that special guest is, but we'll see what happens if I am able to catch on for a show.
All right.
Yeah, that's great.
If anybody doesn't know, it wouldn't be too big of a guess to figure out who it was, but it'll be pretty awesome. Yeah, and have a good one, Randall, and we really appreciate you being on.
Yeah,
thanks again, guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys for round 2.
All right, see ya. We are joined by Chris JWS. How you doing, Chris? Are we or aren't we?
I'm not sure. Quick thing, I saw someone in the chat here ask, they don't grow playoff beards in Chicago. We do. I just can't. I think a middle school girl could grow facial hair faster than I can. So, but we do grow facial hair, playoff beards here.
Oh no, they love you. We've got a good raucous crowd in the chat. They always.
I've been watching the whole thing. Yeah, the chat's great right now.
Yeah. Chris, are you there?
Give me a second.
All right. Chris is asking for a second. We've got another member of Pucknology that wants to hop on. Let's go ahead and let's shoot it over to Chris. Chris, who was your X Factor tonight? What was your X Factor for the series, and what do you think?
Really, I mean, X Factor for the series is Joe Pavelski. And forgive the unusual angle here. Normally, I'm not like looking down on you guys like this, but I have my little setup here downstairs. Shit, Joe Pavelski, I think I don't remember the exact count because I'm drunk and I had a good time and all that, but man, I think he had 6 or 7 points in the series. Absolutely fantastic. Leading like a captain should. And again, I don't want to disparage Joe Thornton because I don't take down him as a captain the way some people do. But yeah, Pavelski leading from the front very clearly. And I think, Landy, you are right. I wanted to agree with you more than I did before. When you said Sharks in 5, the Kings defense didn't have the depth, but you were right. And I saw the same thing you did, but I wanted to give so much benefit out to the Kings because they're the Kings. They have 2 Stanley Cups in the last 5 years. I wanted to give them benefit out, but damn, after Doughty, they dropped off, and that was a big difference in the series. So props to you for your pick. Very bold and nice job.
As my dad loves to say, no balls, no blue chips. All right, we're also joined by Gentry Alexander. Gentry, what's your thoughts on the game tonight?
I thought it was everything you could have hoped for and more. It had drama, it had excitement, it was everything that you could ever want in a Hollywood blockbuster and then some.
Excessive drinking?
Oh, God, yes. I think when it was 3-3.
What are you talking about? I'm totally sober.
When it was 3-3, I think I have not been sober since. So,
quick! I just gotta interrupt one moment. I'll let you finish. No, Vince G.
Thanks, Kanye.
Vince G. No, Teach chime in with something pretty good. Fortune favors the laundry.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the laundry went 4-1 this postseason. All right, Gentry, go ahead and finish.
No, but I really thought that, what a better way to end this series. I mean, I think we all kind of predicted that, the Sharks could easily take it in five. Like I called it because I think I said it was like the Sharks are probably going to win games 1 and 2. They're going to lose game 3 and then win 4 and 5. Because as we all know, they kick ass on the road. They suck after successful road trips, and then they always have a good rebound game after their sucky, return to home ice.
Yeah,
And then
I jokingly said, like literally, I said on Twitter, blow by blow, I was like, they're going to win the first 2 on the road, they're going to lose the first one at home, win the next one at home, and then win game 5 on the road. And I was joking mostly, but does it really shock you?
No, it doesn't, because here's the thing, and I know all the Kings fans are sour pusses, and they're saying, oh, well, the Sharks played dirty, they had all the calls in their advantage, and they took down one of our top 4 defensemen. And I'm sitting there going, really?
Y'all took down our best defenseman 2 years ago, so fuck off.
Thank you.
Pretty
No,
much.
No, but I will say that, me and Mayor kind of had a disagreement as to who the X Factor was going to be for the series, and I stand by the fact that it was Logan Couture. He scored the game winner in Game 2 on the 5-on-3, and he assisted on both the game winners in Game 4 and the game winner tonight. That's saying something. So give it up for Loco and finally beating Drew Doughty, his bromigo.
His pro Rico, exactly. Well, did you hear the comments that he shot off the bow of Doughty tonight? He said, "I bet they have us where they want us now." Right after the series win, Logan chirps his buddy and says, "I bet they have us where they want us now."
Yeah, at home where they don't have to travel because they've been eliminated, so they just get to drive off and cry. And and guess what? I now think that my little rally towel that I got from the season opener from when I went to the Kings Sharks game to start the season, I now have something to kind of just just wipe the tears of excitement from my face, and it's going to be Drew Doughty looking at me and screaming. So good for that.
Why so angry, bro?
Yeah.
Like sad Jordan.
Yeah.
Crying Jordan.
That's crying Jordan inlaid in the Kings logo. I just love that one. And then I've got one more for you. This one's pretty good, and we can always count on Chester Chivo. Chester, this one's for you.
But can I say that how big of a moment was this for Martin Jones? I mean, you probably touched about this, at some point in the show, but the student becomes the master, and he took down his former, he was a Padawan, and then he took him down, and I'm sitting there the entire moment thinking and there's this wonderful thing on Twitter that's been going on right now about, they have the handshake and they slowed it down, and they took the dialogue from Star Wars where it was Darth Vader talking to Obi-Wan. He was like, when I was with you, now I was the learner. Now I am the master. So brilliant, and it's so fitting.
I believe this one was after Game 1. I think it was the Sharks Twitter who posted this one, but this one's pretty apt too. You just gotta love that one. Oh, I love crying Jordan so much.
I know. Can we I wish there was just one where it was just instead of crying Jordan, you just have indifferent Daryl Sutter just with his the entire time, and you could just superimpose that on everybody.
That one's more of an inside joke. This one's the pretty universal. You could stick it on anything and it'd be pretty damn funny. But I thought it was really good on Jonathan Quick.
No, but I think this was, God, what a great win. What this is what everybody needed, because we've been dealing with 2 years now of utter crap, of getting reverse swept and not making the playoffs the year after that. we just kind of sat there, and everybody was thinking that this team wasn't going to do much. Everybody was saying that the Sharks were going to go down in 7, and here we are. We not only now we are. It's not going to be Blackhawks Kings anymore. We have ruined that freaking pattern for the NHL. Now we've done what I've wanted them to do from the get-go. They took it to LA.
I got one more here. Sorry to interrupt you, but I got one more right here.
All right, no, hey, you got to close. There you go. There you go, Chris.
There you go. Yeah, I had to switch, but there you go. This is also credit to Chester Chivo right here. He made this one right here.
You know what? Really, honestly, the X factor in this series was Chester Chivo.
Yeah.
Chester Chivo is always the X factor.
I really just want to say that the X factor in this series was just everybody at Pucknology. How about that?
Exactly.
You know what?
We went 82 games. We went 82 games this season, and we've covered every single playoff game afterwards. And I think that we've been here through the highs, we've been here through the lows, and you know what? We contributed to 2 goal songs. Suck it.
Yeah, we're the current holders.
Thanks, AJ.
Yeah, we're the current holders of both goal songs. I've got one more. Ask and you shall receive. Gentry Alexander. There you go.
Please. Can we just make that a thing now?
Seriously, like, his face is almost inverted because he sucked his lip in so far.
So my girlfriend calls him the king of the trolls. So that's
no,
his
he's the
nickname.
Goblin King from Labyrinth. We all know this.
Oh,
No, he's like Sam the Eagle, just like... It's American!
All right,
I'm
boys.
curious, is anybody even watching right now? It's like midnight, and
Yeah, we're actually picking up viewers. So we
It's almost
we dropped
2:30 by me right now.
Somehow, 40-ish people are still watching right now, and this is the kind of night where we go long, right? Like, Sharks win the series, hell yeah. It's that kind of night.
Wait, guys,
I'm
I got one thing to ask here. How good did it make you feel just seeing the Staples Center go silent the closing seconds there?
Oh, I know. You know what?
So happy.
What could have topped that moment was everybody throwing their glow pucks on the ice.
I thought that they were going to do that. I feared that they'd do that if the Sharks won tonight. They didn't, though.
I guess we can say that LA fans are a bit classier than Philly, which is something I never would have.
Just a little bit.
Landy, you've been on here the long haul, Landy, but I mean, most of us have just joined the last, half hour. I'm assuming you already covered the question of how much did you clench when it was 3-3.
Oh, dude.
Shall we do that one more time?
We shall do that one more time. I literally said I had the bowling ball ready with the chain connected to my leg, peering over the Golden Gate Bridge, ready to hit that ice water. You know what? That was not a good scene. And then I tweeted out, hey, you know what? If they come back and they win this, they've showed me that they're a different team. If they lose it, it's the same old shit. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I had faith at that point. I was like, you know what? I was thinking, like, this team, to me, I already thought was different. And I thought, like, Ray freaking Ratto on the radio said today he thought the Sharks would win in 5 because the Kings have held the lead 4 minutes in all in this series. And I was, like, thinking to myself, like, yeah, the Sharks have clearly been the better team in this series. They'll find a way to finish this out. But in the back of my mind, I was like, if this goes to a Game 6, suddenly, like, the pressure is on the Sharks. You lose Game 6 and go to Game 7. Well, here we go again with 2014. But they got it done. Like, we've seen this time and again from this team in the third period this season. Columbus and I think against the Avalanche has been a handful of keynote games where they have gotten it done in the third period in that do or die situation. They've gotten it done. They've made it happen, and they did it tonight, and they won the series.
All right, all I gotta say is Chester Chivo is Johnny on the spot with this one. Ian Reed, of course, had to sing the United States national anthem.
Yes.
For yours truly, and this is what he looked like. All right.
God, that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. All right. It's so good. The detail is so good. It even shows his microphone boom on Michael Jordan. See right there, the little black part? That's his microphone boom right on his face.
Oh, Chester Shivo, you win MVP. You are listener of the year for if only for that meme right there.
Yeah, I tip my hat to you, sir.
No, but I'm gonna say this though is that wow, I mean the difference 2 years makes, and you gotta now think that Doug Wilson looks like a freaking genius for signing Jonas Donskoy on a low-risk deal. I mean, what a game for him, and what a series for him. We signed him because didn't he lead his team in scoring in the playoffs?
He won the Yari Curry Award last year for Finnish Elite League MVP playoff MVP. And Ian Reed chiming in. I didn't know Ian was still up, but I guess apparently the baby is acting a little rough tonight. He says, "Well, shit." That's his reply to that. Aiden, you've been a little quiet over there. What you got anything to chime in on?
I missed the anthem.
Oh, yeah.
I did too.
I'm gonna have to watch that tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
It's at the very beginning. I'm sure you'll really enjoy it. I'm just waiting for Chester Chivo to do some kind of mashup to some like Sharks goal or something.
Mm-hmm.
Shark.
A fully animated video would be amazing. Just no LMFAO, please. leave that abortion at Planned Parenthood. Thank you very much.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Can I just say how happy I am though that Sharks were able to win this? I had people text me last night pictures of the shark where you could see the stick stuck in his throat, and that's what they choke on. I had a couple friends sending me that, saying you better get ready for this. So I'm glad that they get to hold off for another round, and I don't need to get those texts yet.
No, now we don't have to hear from and this was my biggest thing about winning this series in 5 and winning it at Staples Center is now we don't have to hear from the NHL media and from anybody else who, well, remember it was 3-0 because you guys were favored. You guys had every opportunity to win. You guys still had your core intact. You guys had everything to your advantage. You had home ice. You had quick. You still had your defense. And what? You achieved nothing. You get nothing. Good day, sir. Go home.
How ironic was it, though, in the closing game, we could honestly say it was 3-0.
Yeah.
At least for about 10 minutes there. Like, I was like, oh, God, is this
and guess
going to be...
Then it was 6-3.
But, yeah, exactly. Then it was 6-3. The Sharks buried their asses. They finished the job. Done. And like you said, good day, sir.
Good day,
They
sir.
pretty much, it was like there can be only one, and then they just took off the head and acquired the quickening. Get it? Quickening?
More like the not-so-quickening, am I right?
It might be too soon. Chester Chivo chiming in. Can we get it was 6-3 trending? I sure hope so. Vince.
No, it is 6-3.
Yeah,
it was.
It
Talking
is.
now.
Yeah.
It is 6-3. Go home. See ya. Done. Fuck you, LA.
well, just in my personal trends, we've got the Sharks trending at 38,000 tweets right now.
You want to know why? Because it would have been more if the Kings would have won it, because all the celebrity bandwagoners would have been on there like, oh yeah, go LA, like Alyssa Milano. And the only one that I really know that's a true Kings fan is Will Wheaton. So sorry, Will, but go back to being your C-list self and go back to doing Robot Chicken.
Shout out to Will Wheaton. I did look him up. I could find blog posts and tweets from him in 2010, 2011 rooting for the Kings. So at least give the guy credit. He was a fan before they won shit. So
No, I have no problems with Will
he ain't no
Wheaton.
Bieber. I was saying, like, I don't mind celebrity fans as long as they actually rooted for the team before they were relevant. Like, Justin Bieber is the epitome. You know, he's showing up at Heat games 2 years ago. He's showing up at Warrior games now. He was showing up at Kings games, like, 2 years ago. Just jumping on the latest bandwagon. Like,
and Chicago, right?
Dude.
Yeah, he was on
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago as well. Like,
Because he had the whole stepping on the logo deal, right? Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Like, seriously, to borrow from AJ, fuck that guy.
Vince G chiming in with something a little bit farther back in the chat, but he says, going forward, I'm muting my TV during the national anthem and playing Ian's.
That's fantastic. I haven't even seen it yet because, like, I was just chilling here, but I have to go back. I'm gonna have to make a standalone video of that so we can post that on the Pucknology Facebook page. If you aren't already following Pucknology on Facebook, follow it now because we are going to be trying to post highlight videos there, and that will be probably the highlight video of the year.
Pin it.
Yeah.
It's got to be the pinned video.
Oh, the pin video, exactly.
Pinned video.
Jesus Christ! I mean, what a difference that we finally. Can we just said that we should have had a captain last year, and maybe that some of this shit wouldn't have been a problem.
You know what? I still don't think that last year's team was deep enough to make it to the playoffs, unfortunately. No. I mean, when John Scott is your lone, off-season acquisition, and let's not go into that again, but you know what? It wasn't.
The series would have been done in 4 if John Scott was on the team terrorizing the Kings. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I say that with all sarcasm.
But,
I mean, I love John Scott. Yeah.
Realistically, last year was a wasted year. No matter what, I mean, whatever. It's in the past, and I guess I posed this question already at the end of the season, but the case for Doug Wilson to keep his job, I mean, I think he keeps his job already, no matter what, but the case we're saying that's the right move, it got a lot stronger tonight. Like, he had a weak year last year, but right now, with the offseason he had, and if you look at the decade he had before, where he made a lot of great moves, it's hard to say he should be fired right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, look at I think when he saw that Donskoy got the eventual like series ender goal in the third period, he's just sitting there going, "Yep, this is me. I keep my job for another year. Screw Pucknology." But hey, I will give you.
Not all of us are anti Doug Wilson. Like, I've defended him on numerous occasions on here. Who played a critical role in this series? Like, Jones did, Martin did, Donskoy obviously tonight. Like, I say give the man his credit. Give the orange guy his credit.
All right, let's go to Aiden because he doesn't normally chime in on this, and he's kind of gotten he's got a bigger national perspective. Aiden, what do you think about DW's job?
I think a couple years ago, or this offseason, I thought it was great. With Jones, Martin, Ward, Donskoy, I thought he did great this year. A couple years ago with just John Scott, I thought that was pretty terrible. But I mean, honestly, the Sharks last year, they were bad, but they were in the playoff race until, I believe, January or something. February, where they lost every home game. That's when they were out. But, I mean, I think that without that February, they could have actually made it to the playoffs. And, I mean, they probably would have lost in the first round. But I think that they still could have made it. I mean, I feel like they weren't as bad as everyone remembers them.
No, you're right. I mean, I think the Sharks did keep it alive, and as much as they had a patchwork defense and patchwork bottom six, they did keep it alive. I just didn't think that team had it to win. I think that team was still reeling after that series loss against LA. I think I just think that it wasn't the time, and especially because of this youth movement thing that I didn't see it. I didn't see where it was going to happen.
Oh yeah, no, the team probably would have lost in the first round. There was no chance of them winning the cup last year. they were way
Last
too
year's
weak.
team was set up to fail, and on its own wasn't that good. And as I said, set up to fail. They had every they perpetuated every distraction. They let the whole thing hang over them deliberately by the captain drama. Oh, we don't have a captain. Like, if management had just moved on and said, you know what, it's like it never happened. Maybe that team might have had a chance to compete for a playoff spot, maybe a first round win, but it really had no chance because management let that hang over them for a whole year.
That's
No,
true.
he did. He let that thing dangle. He kind of left. He kind of screwed Todd McClellan a little bit. He set that roster up so that Todd didn't really have much options. Although Todd was pretty stubborn and he wouldn't play Hurdle as a center, but still, I think Peter DeBoer inherited a much greater roster than did Todd.
Yeah.
So I can finally say this on this show. I've been telling this to the guys behind the scenes for a while now, but I finally have a second source who is willing to say I can repeat this. I've had two people tell me, credible sources, that a big point of friction between Todd McClellan and Doug Wilson was Brent Burns. Todd McClellan did not believe he could be a defenseman. And early on with Pete DeBoer, the results were mixed, admittedly. But if you look at Brent Burns from January on, and he's had some really good games in the playoffs as a defenseman, that's been a huge difference for the Sharks. And I was even in the maybe we should put Brent Burns back at forward camp until maybe mid-January, mid-February. And that's been a difference. And I know, I have people I trust that have told me that I think are very credible that have said that was a big part of the reason why Todd McClellan had to split, is because he did not believe Brent Burns could be a defenseman. He wanted him at forward. So, for what that's worth, there you go.
I mean, I think that Peter DeBoer having him in the Worlds, the World Tournament, the IIHF World Tournament, having him as a defenseman and seeing what he could do, I think really kind of opened his eyes to what Brent Burns could be. Because he was very good in that series and that whole tournament. But I think what we're looking at is the Paul Martin effect. And while Paul Martin is not going to be flashy he's not going to be flashy on anybody's radar, he has been very solid. He's taught Burns that, look, you can get yourself in trouble sometimes, but you don't have to overreact and over make up for the play. If you just slide yourself back positionally and don't do a Burnsy slide, and try and get back to position on your skates and don't exacerbate the problem, then things will the play will come back to you. And I think that's the best thing that Burns could learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Martin effect has been a big part of his success this season. But I honestly believe that having a coach that believes he could play that spot, and he will never be a great defenseman if you want to talk in the purest sense. But I said this like a month or two ago, he is actually finally looking like, when we acquired him, we were like, hey, this could be our next Dan Boyle. Dan Boyle's old. He's only got a few more years left. I'm sorry, Gentry. He's only got a few years left in him. We need a young guy who can be that guy. And the last couple of months, he's looked like Dan Boyle 2.0. I mean, different skill set. Dan Boyle was a little bit of more of the delicate skater, more, just crazy great moves. Burns is the more the raw power, but he's really looked like he could fill that kind of role.
I will say this about Brent Burns, because obviously, since everybody says I'm the #1 Dan Boyle fan, I do watch a lot of his highlights, and I see that Burns has a better finish to his style than Dan Boyle did. Dan Boyle had his moments where he can finish plays really well, but Brent Burns has is better executing in making plays happen quicker than Dan Boyle.
I think you can also think of it like this. Dan Boyle was always a power play quarterback. He was always the quarterback when he was on the ice, meaning he would be your playmaker on the defensive end. Whereas Brent Burns is more a sniper from the back end, right? He's the guy that you rely on to finish. He's not the guy that's going to be setting up the plays. He can do that. He makes a good first pass out of the zone, but his finish and his biggest asset is that wrist shot.
No, yeah, he's, you don't need the big slapper from the points anymore. You need to get pucks to the net, and if you can get one that that can be tipped and then can go to the net, then you're set. And that's.
I just want to say, Cody James, he's saying Cooch, Pavs, Donskoy, Hurdle, staple of the Sharks. I just got to put this little nugget in your mind. Cooch centers a line of Timo Meier and Hurdle. He uses Meier and Hurdle as his battering rams, and he goes forth. Just think about that little nugget and think about how sweet it will be. And then you have Donskoy and you have Goldie on the second line. I think you're in pretty good shape.
No, and I like that. And here's the thing: it's like I was, looking at the Barracuda lineup, and I'm thinking like, next season is going to be so much fun to go to Barracuda games when you have Timo Meier and you have all them coming up. You've got Rourke Chartier and Jeremy Waugh. Like that's going to be a fun, Barracuda games to watch because you got all these guys from the 2014 draft, just all coming in and just knocking it out of the park. So go for it. Those are going to be fun. I think that team's going to go deep.
Yeah, no, it will be fun. Quickly, for people who aren't really up on the prospect watch for the Sharks, please visit Pucknology.net. We've got Ian Reed, who has a great series of articles on the upcoming Little Sharks. We have Aiden, of course, who writes for Pucknology.net as well. He does game days. He's doing other sorts of articles for the Sharks. I think you were working on a defensive article at one point, were you, Aiden?
Like on defenseman?
Yeah, on defenseman. Were you writing it, or was that somebody else?
Yeah, that was probably someone else.
Okay, but and so we've got some great writers on there, and of course, Pucknology.net is the umbrella that Pucknology After Dark sits, and Teal Tinted Glasses, our sister podcast. So yeah, I mean it's awesome. It's a great hub. I think we've probably got the best prospect coverage going forward, in my opinion. I mean,
I do definitely.
I love Fear the Fin, and they've been
clearly biased.
And hey, Fear the Fin guys have been on this podcast guesting, so we don't view ourselves as rivals.
No, I mean the more coverage that we can get on this team, because the media doesn't, and the media does not want to cover them, the better it is.
Exactly. Like we're competitors, but really like. Right now, there isn't nearly enough Sharks coverage. There's, good Sharks coverage, but there can be so much more. And therefore, we all love Fear the Fin, and we think we do good stuff here. So,
no, I will say this is that there have been many times when I was watching the game tonight, and I was seeing a bunch of CSN commercials where it was authentic fan. It was Warriors, 49ers, A's, Raiders, and Giants, and I was like, wait. You're doing all of these advertisements for CSN, but you're not covering the team that you're currently, broadcasting right now. Yeah. So, and then Brody Brazil just put out a tweet like, this has been a great time, covering round, 1, CSN is done, have fun, and we're just like, you know what, where you guys started off, you have Pucknology to take the, to fill in the void for the remainder of the playoffs because we're not going anywhere. And we will be here through win, defeat, series wins, and series ending. We will be here through it all. This is what we want to provide for the fans because you know what? The Sharks fans are they want more from the media and they're not getting it, so that's why we're here. So this is our mission statement for you guys. We will be here through we're like the postal service. We'll be here through rain, snow, and own goals.
and own goals. Ian bringing a great point. Thomas Owen as well is also a great contributor on the Barracuda side. So once those players kind of graduate out of Canadian Junior or NCAA, that's kind of where it goes into Thomas's wheelhouse. He does some great Barracuda articles. Go check him out as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe down there somewhere. I believe it's on the right-hand side. It's a little red button that says subscribe. It helps us out. We've almost gotten to the 200 subscription mark, which is really excellent for where we started, a year plus ago. It's been great. I mean, this thing is why we do it. I mean, we don't get paid anything to do this. We do it because we love the Sharks. We do it because there's a lack of attention on this team, and we want to get it out there.
Yeah, and we're now, other than we're the only post-game show in town for rounds 2 and on. So stay with us because we will be here through every step of it.
Yeah, and we're also one of the only Sharks websites pretty much for anyone else to read as well. Like for me, out here in Chicago and everything, I only knew Fear the Fin before Pucknology. I know Fear the Fin now, Pucknology, and Blaze the Teal. Those are the only 3 that anyone else has to read, really. We got nothing else. They're fan sites.
Exactly, and well, I'll be posting up a little biography on Eric Cura, the creator and director. But basically, it's just a really good story of where he came from and why he decided to start the site. Along with AJ, those are really the guys starting from the ground up, and of course Chris. And we've come full circle. AJ is now back with us, and the round table is open again.
Are you guys still doing this? Really?
We're still doing this,
dude.
Well,
if it's ever night for us to go long, it's tonight, right? Like
I guess. Yeah, it's like, man, I signed up Dude, I signed up 40 minutes ago and thought the show was going to go 10 minutes longer after that. So kudos to you. Who's the new cat we got on the far left?
That's Aiden. Aiden is one of our writers at Pucknology.net. AJ.
Yeah, no, I know the name. I just haven't seen the face. That's all. So
How's it going?
welcome to the crap show. I don't want to say the S word because we might have some respectable people listening. So okay. I'm just saying.
PC, AJ. We're after dark, okay?
I'm trying to keep it clean, and just in case, hey, I would expect that you guys would give me more credit for that instead of me coming on there and go, hey, F everybody, and blah, 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 blah. So, it's all good.
No, that's for when we're off air.
Okay. Well, no, I got to be honest with you. I'm actually kind of bummed out that you guys are still in the air because I went to go look at the replay only because on my way home, I wanted to drive home listening to the dulcet tones of Ian Reid singing our national anthem. That's all.
This is where I wish we had the means to just end the show with this one more time as an encore.
No, I wish me.
Anyone watching this, I'm going to go through tomorrow morning and I will put some thumbnails and some skips to allow you to get straight to Ian Reid eating his humble pie.
I'm just saying right now. From here on out, for the rest of the playoffs, I'm going to pull down that audio. I'm going to rip it, and we're going to open every show for the rest of the playoffs with that and we will all start the show standing, hats off, giving Ian Reid his due.
Hey, AJ, I believe I owe you some lotto numbers now, right?
Absolutely, but I'll take Ballast Point instead.
So, hold on a second. So, given that no Canadian teams made the playoffs and Ian Reid, doesn't Canada just lose everything this year?
But dude, you don't even get Molson anymore. That's ours now too. We don't even want it. We don't even want it, but we'll take it.
Out of nowhere, Ian Reid, the Maple Masher.
Jose, can you see?
The A-Run Chic. I mean, he's here. I see his thing. I don't hear him.
All right, sorry.
Yeah. Go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, hello from the other side of the border.
Hello.
Hello from the other side of the border.
I'm not going to sing.
Hello from the
into my
right
phone.
side of the border.
But you don't really have to do much, Chris, because it's like at the start, like right at the start of the show, like because that's how you start any big event, right? Start with the national anthem.
Exactly. It's like a sporting event. You just start it there.
You gonna give us an encore, Ian?
I don't have the words in front of me anymore.
Wrong.
He says he doesn't have the words up anymore.
Come on, just give us Home of the Brave, bro. Just Home of the Brave.
No, my son's sleeping behind me.
Jose, can you see by the dawn's early light?
And now our ratings have taken a complete nosedive.
We're probably about the point now where we're just goofing off. We probably should wrap up. We're at about 2 hours.
Yeah, hey, you know
Dude, I can't believe I logged off for 40 minutes, came back, and you're still here.
You know what?
Dude, we won a series, man. We're entitled to have a series.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. That's why I respect it. You know what? Series win, go on, dude. Let's just forget it, man. Let's just go on until everybody starts eating eggs and waffles in the morning, man. Just go.
Normally, like a couple of us, me and Landy, are usually like saying, "Hey, we're over an hour. We need to wrap it up." But tonight, you know, let it all hang out. You know, right?
Yeah.
And I know Thomas wanted in. Hey, you can join on, buddy. You know, we're still rocking and rolling. I think I'm gonna let this go for maybe another 10 minutes, and we'll call it a night.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God, dude. Slushy Jake about to come on.
No.
We're just going to bring everybody back. We're just going to bring...
Do we have a slushy question? Hell, we'll take a slushy question. I don't know about... Slushy does not get to come on here. What was that bet you made, AJ? You better not be able to come on here.
I gotta look at my bracket. I still feel pretty confident, but I have to look at the bracket. We'll see what happens.
Pretty confident, AJ?
Well, you know what? He took Philadelphia. He took Philadelphia. Everything seems to be on Philadelphia right now. If Philadelphia wins, we're screwed.
Early 13, then yeah.
Okay, all right. How much shit are we gonna have to take if Puck Guy actually pulls this off and Minnesota wins?
Well, now hold on. You really have to take into account that not only are we going to catch crap for this, but it's going to be built up for him taking Winnipeg last year, so it's going to be like double. It's going to be double, man.
Not double.
It's going to be just...
Literally like, okay, well, talking math here, they offset each other. Because that was a shitty pick last year, shitty pick this year. If he gets one shitty pick out of two, honestly, that's a draw.
No, no. The sun will explode if Minnesota wins, okay? That's how you know this thing is going to hell in a handbasket.
They don't see the sun in Minnesota. They only see dire winter. Believe me, I know. I've been there.
Oh, and Sophia was asking what were we drinking. I'm pretty high off a Sharks win, so there's that. But absinthe, I don't know. You guys want to?
I have blue barrels from the brewery, aka Blue Balls. It's a sour stout with blueberries. And raspberry stout from Avery, Narwhal barrel aged, and then I have Will Wheaton's Boot Stout, which I think is kind of ironic since he's a Kings fan.
Right. For me, I was at the bar. I had Lagunitas, Waldo, and Denogonizer.
There you go. Good choices. For me, I was mostly having Sierra Nevada Torpedo for the night, because that's what I provided for the party I was at when we were watching the game, and all the feels were happening. So, oh God.
But I will say, once I do arrive at my destination, I will be.
Oh.
and AJ gets.
Well, that's oddly fitting right there. Great timing. I'm assuming he probably did that on purpose. AJ did not crash, guys. He's okay.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna take this thing home because it's
Oh, here he comes.
oh.
He's not dead, people.
Was that weird? Did Ian kick me off? Is that what happened?
No, you
Yes.
just lost connection.
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to see a fight. But yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not already, this is Pucknology After Dark. You can follow us at Eric Landy, at AJ Strong, at PuckGuy14, at iReadPucknology, at Gentry Alexander, at Pucknology, at Sharkago, and yeah.
Chris JWS.
Oh, at Chris JWS. How could I? Wait a minute. Are you on the?
Yeah, I'm not on here, asshole.
Oh, this wasn't from me. This was from Puck Guy. So
Wow.
take it up with Puck Guy. You've been usurped by Puck Guy. This was not my.
I see how it is. Okay.
This is not my graphic.
Chris JWS.
So we're
RS JWS.
I feel like we're,
Of course, we have to put at Chester Chivo and at Gen X. They are our greatest fans. They were here since day one. They're the meme factories.
And just letting you know, after tomorrow, I Read Pucknology will become I Read USA.
No.
It'll become I love the USA and I bow down to them. Wait, it's a 16 character limit, right?
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I think?
no.
You know what I think it's gonna do? I think it's just gonna be, born in the USA, and it's just gonna be the what was it? The who sang that song? God.
Bruce Springsteen.
Come on,
It's just gonna be that. It's gonna be that album cover where it's just his ass and the American flag in the background.
All right.
Oh,
No, hold on.
Bruce Springsteen has nothing on Ian.
All right, it's gonna be
Damn right.
It's gonna be I Read Laundry. All right, get it right, fuckers.
Guys, I just have one thing to say for a closing statement. Any Hawks players that are watching or coaches, I hope that the Blues beat you. I hope that the
Wow.
Wow.
One other thing that should be mentioned before we wrap up: if anyone has not gone on Battle of California and read the Sharksphere poetry on there, do it right now. It's amazing. It's hilarious, especially if you actually do a dramatic reading of it. It's just the best shit you ever read in your life.
All right, well, so
Chris? Hold on, Chris. Can I ask you a question, sir?
Yes.
What happened to your beautiful lighting in the studio that you were in? The little, you used to be like in a bunker, and now you look like you're in a very beautiful apartment with a very nice kitchen and everything. What happened to the bunker, good sir?
Well, my wife is upstairs sleeping, and upstairs in the living room, I have a former roommate chilling out with me while I do this, and we're drinking beer, and I'm on here. So.
And
Okay.
Laura,
No, I was just wondering because we're usually used to the bunker, and you don't have the creepy pig behind you like Landy does. So I just had to wonder.
hey, and
Yes,
Laura,
the creepy
Laura
pig
coming
will never be topped.
up- Laurel comes up with the Pornhub. All right, guys. Well, good night from all of us. We love you all. Thank you for hanging in there. 35 of you still like us. So.
Wow, you guys are
And for
crazy.
those of you with the hangout, we'll be on here for another hour and a half.
Yeah. So
The way
Good night, all.
after dark part of this.
go Sharks. Let's beat whoever comes out of that Predators Duck series. I've got Predators. Make it go 7, and let's beat up on these guys. Peace out.